Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in life when you realize that what you are chasing isn't just a dream, it's a calling. A calling is not a wish, it's not a hobby, it's not something you do when you have free time. A calling is something you are mad for. You see, there's a difference between doing something because it looks good and doing something because it feels like breathing. When you find your calling, you don't just work at it, you live in it. It's the thing that wakes you up when everyone else is asleep. It's the fire that refuses to go out no matter how much life tries to throw water on it. And let me tell you this, your calling will not always show up with applause. Sometimes it will come wrapped in struggle. Sometimes it will disguise itself as rejection, as failure, as pain. But deep down inside, your spirit knows, this is who I am. This is what I was born for. You were not designed for mediocrity. You were not placed on this earth just to pay bills and wait to die. There is something within you that was put there for a reason. That gift, that talent, that vision. It doesn't belong to you alone. It belongs to the world. And the tragedy is not death. The tragedy is to live your whole life and never answer that calling. So stop waiting for the right moment. Stop asking for permission. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Listen to the voice inside you that refuses to be silent. Because your calling is not just about success, it's about significance. You were made for this. Don't let fear talk you out of it. Don't let comfort keep you away from it. Don't let doubt bury it alive. Step into your calling, because when you do, you don't just change your life, you change the lives of everyone who's been waiting for what only YOU can bring to the table. The world is waiting on your calling. Will you answer it? A calling is not something you sit down and casually pick off a menu of life options. It's not like choosing a career because it pays well or because someone else told you it's respectable. A calling chooses you. It is written into your DNA, planted in your spirit long before you even realized it. It whispers to you in quiet moments. It tugs at you when you try to ignore it, and it refuses to let you settle for less. You see, when you're chasing a job or an opportunity, you can quit. You can walk away and say, this isn't for me. But when it's a calling, you can't shake it. You can try to bury it under excuses, distractions, or responsibilities, but it will rise again. It will haunt you in your sleep and echo in your thoughts until you finally admit, this is who I am. This is what I was made for. Think about it. Every person has been crafted with something unique inside them. Just like a seed already carries the blueprint of the tree it's meant to become. You already carry the blueprint of the purpose you are designed for. You don't invent your calling. You discover it. You uncover it. And once you recognize it, you can't deny it without feeling an emptiness in your soul. A calling is deeper than ambition. Ambition says, I want to achieve. A calling says, I was born to become. One is fueled by desire, the other by destiny. And destiny doesn't need your permission. It only needs your obedience. The moment you understand this truth, you stop playing small. You stop wasting time on things that drain you, and you start focusing on what was built into your very being. Many people spend their lives chasing what looks good on the outside, only to discover they are starving on the inside. That's what happens when you confuse a career with a calling. A career may give you a paycheck, but a calling gives you purpose. And purpose is the one thing that keeps you alive even when life knocks the wind out of you. So remember this, you don't get to choose your calling like you choose an outfit. It was stitched into you from the beginning. And if you ignore it, you'll always feel that something is missing, no matter how much success you pile up. That's why a calling is not a choice. It is something you are made for. When you step into your calling, it doesn't feel forced. It feels natural, like it was always supposed to be this way. It's not about struggling to fit into a role that doesn't belong to you. It's about sliding into a space that was shaped with you in mind. Just as lungs are made for air and wings are made for flight, you were made for your calling. It fits you so well that even when you face obstacles deep inside, you know you're exactly where you belong. Your calling has a way of pulling you forward, even when your mind tries to hold you back. You don't have to beg yourself for motivation when you're in alignment with what you were created for. It flows through you. That's why people often say, I could do this all day and not get tired. It's not because the work is easy, but because the work is yours. It energizes you instead of draining you, and it gives you life in a way nothing else can. Think about how you feel when you're away from it. When you're not operating in your calling, something inside feels restless, like you're suffocating. But the moment you step back into it, you breathe again. That's the power of alignment. You can fake excitement for a job. You can fake interest in a project, but you can't fake the peace and fulfillment that comes from walking in your calling. Your calling is unstoppable because it's not just about you. It's bigger than you. Even when you face rejection, setbacks, or delays, that inner fire keeps burning. You can try to silence it, but it will find a way to speak. You can try to walk away, but life will keep redirecting you until you finally accept it. Why? Because your calling is tied to purpose, and purpose will always demand expression. When people see you in your calling, they often say things like, "You were born for this." And they're right. It shows in your energy, in your presence, and in the way you bring life to what you do. Others may struggle to keep up, but for you, it flows naturally because it's not just a skill, it's your essence. It's the gift that was planted inside you to be shared with the world. So when I say your calling feels like breathing, I mean it's not optional, it's essential. You can live without many things, but you cannot live fully without answering the call inside you. Breathing doesn't stop because life gets hard, and neither does your calling. It will keep pushing, keep pressing, keep reminding you this is who you are. Your calling doesn't always come wrapped in clarity and celebration. More often than not, it introduces itself through the very things we try to avoid: struggle, rejection, and failure. Life has a way of shaping us through the fire, and it's in those difficult moments that our true purpose begins to reveal itself. The obstacles you face are not there to stop you. They are there to strip away everything that doesn't belong, so you can finally see who you really are. Rejection is one of the clearest signs that you are being redirected toward your calling. Sometimes doors close not because you're unworthy, but because you're meant to walk through a different door. You may not get the job you thought you wanted, the opportunity you prayed for, or the approval you craved, but those closed doors are pushing you toward the path you were truly made for. Your calling won't always take the route you planned, but it will always take you exactly where you need to go. Failure, too, is one of life's greatest teachers when it comes to purpose. When you fall down and get back up, you discover resilience. When you stumble and learn, you discover growth. And every time you fail, you are being refined. Failure is not proof that you're off track. It's evidence that you are in the process of becoming. Many of the greatest callings in history were born from seasons of failure that forced people to dig deeper and rise higher. Struggle is not comfortable, but it is purposeful. When you struggle, you learn what matters most. You learn what you're willing to fight for and what you refuse to give up on. That fight is often the clue to your calling. If you can't walk away from it, if you find yourself coming back even after setbacks, that's not just persistence, that's destiny calling your name. Your calling will test you before it blesses you. It will demand perseverance, grit, and faith. That's why so many people miss it. They give up too soon. But if you embrace the struggle instead of running from it, you'll realize it's shaping you for the very thing you were made to do. The struggle sharpens your character, deepens your passion, and equips you to handle the responsibility of your purpose. So don't be surprised if your calling first shows up in the middle of rejection letters, failed attempts, or seasons where nothing seems to work. That's not the end, it's the beginning. It's life preparing you, molding you, and proving to you that your calling is stronger than any setback. You were not placed on this earth just to blend in, to live quietly in the background, or to settle for good enough. Mediocrity was never in your design. You were created with gifts, talents, and abilities that make you unique, and that uniqueness is not meant to be wasted. Too many people shrink themselves down to fit into the comfort zone, but you were not made to shrink. You were made to rise. Greatness is not about being better than someone else. It's about becoming the fullest version of yourself. It's about refusing to settle for a life that doesn't reflect your true potential. Deep down, you know when you're holding back. You know when you're playing small. And that restless feeling inside you, that's greatness trying to break out of the box of mediocrity. Mediocrity is safe, but it is suffocating. It tells you, don't dream too big, don't try too hard, don't stand out. But greatness whispers the opposite. It dares you to step forward, take risks, and to embrace the uncomfortable path that leads to purpose. The truth is, greatness doesn't live in safety. It lives in courage and faith and in action. Think about it. Every person who has ever made a difference in this world had to reject mediocrity. They had to say, I wasn't born just to exist. I was born to create, to inspire, to build, to impact. And that same fire is in you. You may not see it yet, but it's there, waiting for the moment you decide you are worthy of the greatness you were designed for. Greatness doesn't mean perfection. It means persistence. It means showing up when it's hard, standing tall when it hurts, and choosing to push forward even when no one else believes in you. That is what separates those who settle from those who soar. Mediocrity waits for permission. Greatness takes responsibility. Mediocrity hides from fear. Greatness uses fear as fuel. The world doesn't need more people who settle. It needs more people who step into the greatness they were born for. And that greatness isn't just about you. It's about the lives you will touch, the example you will set, and the legacy you will leave. That is why mediocrity is not an option. You were created for more, and until you embrace it, you will always feel something is missing. The gift inside you was not placed there just for your own benefit. It wasn't given so you could hide it, keep it to yourself, or use it only when it's convenient. Your gift was given because someone out there needs it. The world is waiting for what only you can bring. There are people whose lives will be changed, inspired, or uplifted simply because you chose to share what's inside of you. When you hold back your gift, you're not just robbing yourself, you're robbing others. Think about it. The books that were never written, the songs that were never sung, the businesses that were never started, the ideas that were never shared, all of those are losses to humanity, not just to the individual. Your gift is bigger than your comfort zone. It was designed to touch lives far beyond your own. Sometimes we think, who am I to make a difference? But the truth is, who are you not to? You weren't given your gift by accident. The very fact that it burns in you is proof that it's meant to be expressed. Someone is waiting for your courage. Someone is waiting for your vision. Someone is waiting for the healing, the wisdom, the inspiration, or the breakthrough that can only come through you. Your gift is not measured by applause. It's measured by impact. It may not always be recognized. It may not always be rewarded in the way you expect, but that doesn't make it any less necessary. Sometimes the most powerful use of your gift will be in the quiet moments when your words, your actions, or your presence light up someone's darkness. That is purpose in motion. When you start to see your gift as a responsibility instead of a luxury, everything changes. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions to share it. You stop hiding behind fear and doubt. You realize that your gift is not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be given. And the more you give it, the more it grows, and the more lives it touches. So understand this, your gift is not just about you. It's about the world around you. It's a bridge between your soul and someone else's need. And until you decide to release it, there will always be people left waiting, hoping, praying for the very thing you were created to give. The greatest tragedy in life is not death. It is reaching the end of your days knowing you never truly lived. It is waking up year after year, following the motions, ticking the boxes, and silencing that inner voice that keeps telling you there is more. To die without ever answering your calling is not just a loss for you. It is a loss for the world that never got to experience the fullness of your gift. So many people are alive physically but dead in spirit because they chose security over purpose. They chose to play it safe, to settle for what was easy, to ignore the dream that kept knocking on their hearts. And while they may have survived, they never thrived. They never unleashed what was inside of them. And that emptiness, that is the cost of ignoring your calling. The tragedy is not that life is hard. It's that too many people let fear, doubt, and procrastination bury the very thing they were made for. They keep waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect version of themselves to show up. But life never promised perfect conditions. Life only promised you a chance. And the longer you wait, the heavier the weight of regret becomes. Imagine standing at the end of your life and realizing you never wrote that book, never started that business, never sang that song, never reached for that dream. Imagine realizing that the only thing that held you back was not a lack of talent, not a lack of opportunity, but a lack of courage to say yes. That is the tragedy that breaks more hearts than failure ever could. Because failure is not final. It teaches, it shapes, it strengthens. But regret is permanent. Regret is the silent thief that haunts you when you realize the time is gone and the chance is no more. And that's why answering your calling matters, not someday, not when it's convenient, but now. Every moment you ignore it is a moment you can never get back. You were not put here to simply exist. You were not put here just to make a living. You were put here to make a difference. The tragedy is not in falling short. The tragedy is in never trying. And if you never answer your calling, you will always live with the question of what could have been, what you could have done, who you could have become, and the lives you could have touched.